Kai didn't panic at first. When Moana said she needed space, just a few days to think, he believed her. They had been planning the wedding for months. Picking colors, fighting over music, tasting cake samples until they were both too full to argue. It felt real, it felt permanent. So when she kissed him goodbye that Monday morning, eyes a little distant, voice a little softer, he didn't question it, he just said, "Take all the time you need. I love you." She nodded, didn't say it back, but she smiled. He held on to that smile for days. The first 24 hours were calm. He kept busy at the restaurant, chopping vegetables in rhythm, taking pride in the perfect sear of the ahi. He told his co-workers she had gone to visit a cousin on the north side. No big deal. By day 2, she still hadn't answered his texts. By day 3, her phone went straight to voicemail. By day 4, he started calling her friends. Her sister, her old boss at the spa. No one had heard from her. Maybe she's at a retreat, one of them offered. She always talked about wanting to detox somewhere with no signal. That thought gave him peace. For maybe an hour. Then came day 5. Kai barely slept. He left messages everywhere, even called hospitals. Nothing. He paced the apartment, pausing only to stare at her side of the bed, neatly made. Untouched. Her favorite hoodie was still draped over the chair. He buried his face in it, trying to smell something familiar, something steady. Instead, all he found was absence. By day 6, worry gave way to something heavier. Not panic, not grief, a numbness, a quiet terror. He started remembering the things she'd said weeks before. Sometimes I feel like I'm being watched. What if this isn't the life I'm meant for? You don't really know me, Kai, not all of me. Back then, he'd brushed them off as stress. Pre-wedding nerves. Now they felt like clues. And then, on the 7th day, she returned. Just like that. No warning. He was standing in the kitchen, chopping ginger. When the door opened, he turned, dropped the knife. She looked different, not just in appearance, though her hair was curled, her skin tanner, her dress more expensive than anything she owned. No, it was the way she stood, like a stranger in her own home. And she wasn't alone. The man beside her was older, handsome, tanned in a polished kind of way. He wore loafers with no socks and smiled like he'd already won something. Moana stepped forward. "Kai," she said, almost kindly. His voice came out in a whisper. "Where have you been?" She didn't answer. She just lifted her left hand. The ring glinted in the light. Not the one he gave her. Not the modest sapphire they picked out together in Hilo. A diamond. Large. Elegant. New. Kai stared at it. At her. At him. "His name is Darren," she said. "We got married." Silence. Not the kind that waits for a reply. The kind that eats through walls. Kai blinked. "What?" Moana took a breath. Not nervous. Not apologetic. Just rehearsed. "I didn't plan it. It just happened. I met him. We connected. It was fast. It felt right." He shook his head slowly. "You were gone for 7 days." She nodded. "I know. You were supposed to be my wife. I was supposed to be a lot of things." And then, the line that would replay in his head for the rest of his life. "I'm sorry, Kai, but this feels like fate." Fate. He didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't throw anything. He just stood there, one hand still wet from ginger, staring at the two of them. Moana stepped forward, reaching for his arm. He stepped back, and for the first time in their 4 years together, he didn't look at her with love. He looked through her, past her, at the man who now wore her on his arm like a prize. Darren gave a polite nod. "I know this is a shock. I'm sorry for the way it happened." Kai's jaw tightened. "Are you?" Darren didn't answer. Moana's voice was soft. "We should go." Kai didn't stop them, didn't move, didn't breathe. The door closed behind them. And he was alone again. Only this time, it wasn't absence he felt. It was erasure, like he had been a placeholder in someone else's love story. A footnote. A false start. That night, he sat on the beach behind the restaurant, staring at the waves. His coworkers left him alone. They knew, news travels fast in small towns. He lit a cigarette. He hadn't smoked in years. The smoke curled into the night sky like a question he didn't know how to ask. What did it mean to love someone who could vanish? What did it mean to be replaced so cleanly, so quickly, so effortlessly? The sand was cold beneath him. His heart was colder, and somewhere, deep in the quiet of his mind, something began to shift. Not rage, not revenge, just the realization that love could lie, that trust could vanish in a week, and that maybe the person he loved most never really existed at all. After Moana left, Kai stopped counting days. Time unraveled. Each sunrise felt like a rumor, each sunset a lie. He went back to the restaurant, not because he wanted to cook, but because chopping onions gave his hands something to do while his mind quietly collapsed. He spoke less, smiled never. His coworkers gave him space. In Kona, space is a lie. Everyone knows everything, or thinks they do. By the end of the week, the story had reached everyone. Moana, the vanishing, the return, the ring, the new husband. She moved into a high-end condo near the marina. Darren rented a Tesla. They walked together near the farmer's market, hand in hand, as if they hadn't stepped on someone's heart to get there. Kai didn't watch them, not at first. But then came the first photo, sent by a friend. Moana and Darren at the botanical garden. Her head tilted back in laughter. Kai stared at that photo for hours. It wasn't jealousy, it wasn't rage, it was absence. The kind of absence that turns the world gray. He began walking the town at night. His old haunts, her favorites, the coffee shop where she'd order passionfruit tea, the beach bench where she once cried over a movie, the bookstore where she used to read to children on Saturdays. Everywhere he looked, he saw her, and nowhere was she his. He stopped sleeping. He started checking her socials. She kept her Instagram private now. But her new life bled through others, tags, mentions, blurry cameos, a shadow in someone's brunch story, a giggle in a friend's reel. She was alive. He was just erased. He found a burner account, created a fake name, began following her circle. He told himself it wasn't stalking, just understanding. If he could understand why she left, maybe it would hurt less. But the deeper he went, the less sense it made. Darren was rich, sure, but he was bland, corporate, vacationing, not living, the kind of man who took selfies with champagne but didn't know how to cook rice. Kai watched their videos, their smiles, the way Darren placed a hand on Moana's back like he owned it. Kai remembered what that felt like. He remembered the night she told him about her father, the tremble in her voice, the way she clutched his shirt when she cried. He'd held her for hours. Did she ever tell Darren? Did it matter? He saw her wearing the necklace he gave her for their anniversary. He saw her in the sundress she swore made her feel like his forever. Now it belonged to another future. One night, Kai stood across the street from their building. It wasn't intentional. He had been walking, thinking, drowning, and then, there it was. Her silhouette on the balcony, glass in hand, music low. He watched her laugh. She was beautiful in the way grief is beautiful when it no longer belongs to you. He whispered her name, but no one heard. Inside him, something hollow echoed. He went home and turned off all the lights. Sat in the dark, not crying, just existing. His apartment still smelled like her. Coconut shampoo, vanilla lotion, lip balm on the pillowcase. He opened the closet. Her old hoodie still hung there. He reached for it, held it close, but it didn't bring warmth, only weight. He dropped it, sat on the floor, and whispered again. Why him? No one answered. He began skipping shifts, then calling in. The restaurant manager left voicemails. He didn't respond. He sat by the ocean instead. Let the tide come close, but never touch. The town grew quieter around him. Or maybe he just stopped listening. He saw her once more, in person, at a cafe. She didn't see him, or pretended not to. She looked radiant. He looked ruined. He went home and broke every dish they had ever bought together. The next day, he bought new ones, all white, all plain. He didn't want memories anymore, just surfaces. He began journaling, not poetry, not emotion, just questions. What did I miss? When did it change? Who was she when I wasn't looking? No answers came, only silence. And silence, over time, becomes an accomplice to madness. Kai didn't scream, didn't confront, he simmered. And that simmer would not boil. Not yet. The invitation came in an envelope that still smelled faintly of lavender. It was from Keanu, an old friend from culinary school, turning 35, throwing a rooftop party at a downtown venue with cocktails and a live DJ. Kai almost threw it out, but something made him keep it. 3 days later, after 2 more sleepless nights, he stood in front of the mirror. He hadn't shaved, the collar of his shirt was wrinkled. His eyes were red, but not from crying, from absence. He looked like a man auditioning for a role he had no lines for. Still, he went. The rooftop was full of people he vaguely knew. They greeted him with half hugs and lingering looks. Some smiled too wide, others avoided eye contact. He poured himself a drink. Something strong, something he didn't have to name. And then he saw her. Moana, in a red dress that looked like it had been sewn from every goodbye he never got. She was laughing. Next to her was Darren, of course, holding 2 glasses of champagne, one already half empty. His hand rested on the small of her back like it had always belonged there. Kai's breath shortened. He turned away, faced the skyline, sipped, breathed. 1, 2, 3. Someone called his name. He smiled. It cracked. He floated through the night like a ghost with unfinished business. His mind replayed moments, her head on his chest, her voice in the morning, her laugh over burnt toast. Now that laugh belonged to someone else. He poured another drink. The music got louder, the lights got warmer, and somewhere between the 3rd and 4th drink, he found himself sitting 2 tables away, close enough to hear. Darren was telling a story. Something about Paris. Moana was laughing. Her hand touched Darren's knee. Kai didn't blink. She used to do that to me. He whispered. Someone beside him asked what he said. He didn't repeat it. Instead, he stood up. The weight in his pocket reminded him of everything he had never let go of. The Glock was registered. He'd bought it years ago after a break-in near the restaurant. Hawaii laws made it hard to carry. But he had the paperwork. He hadn't touched it in months. Until that morning, his hand slipped into his jacket. He walked toward them, slow, like the ground would collapse if he moved too fast. Moana saw him first. Her smile froze. Kai? He didn't answer. Darren turned, confused. Hey, man, 1 shot. The room screamed. Darren collapsed backward into a table, blood soaking the white cloth like spilled wine. Moana screamed. People ducked, ran. Kai turned to her, hands steady, eyes empty. She was on her knees, shaking. Kai, please. He raised the gun, and fired. The 2nd shot was quieter. Or maybe the world had gone silent. She fell next to Darren. And for a moment, the only sound was the music, still playing. Oblivious. Kai dropped the gun, lifted his hands. Security rushed him. Someone was shouting. Someone was crying. He didn't hear any of it. He was looking at the bodies. Not with rage. Not with triumph. With confusion. As if he still didn't understand what had broken inside him. As if he still believed this was the only way to make memory match reality. As if killing them would make the story make sense. But it didn't. Nothing did. As they cuffed him and read his rights, he whispered the only truth left. I just wanted it to stop hurting. The city lights blinked like they didn't care. The music finally stopped, and silence fell over Kona like nightfall over a graveyard of dreams. The headlines screamed before the sirens stopped. Double murder at rooftop party in Kona. Jealous fiancé snaps. Love triangle turns deadly. The photos went viral before his mugshot was even taken. The blood on his hands. The empty stare. The way he didn't resist. Kai was processed quietly. He didn't speak. The police report noted he had no prior criminal history. No known mental illness. No history of violence. Only one thing marked his record: a certificate of completion from a culinary institute. The courtroom was full on the first day of the trial. Reporters, strangers, families of the dead, people who loved Moana, people who admired Darren, people who wanted to know what betrayal looked like in person. Kai sat alone. No family, no friends. Even the public defender didn't touch his shoulder. His face never changed. The prosecutor painted him as cold, calculated, consumed by jealousy, said he was a danger to society, a man who executed his ex and her new husband in public. The defense tried. They called it a breakdown, showed evidence of sleeplessness, grief, dissociation. They quoted doctors. They quoted journals. They read a line from Kai's own notebook. "I don't think I exist anymore. I think I became someone else. Someone who could watch her vanish and still smile at her ghost." It didn't matter. The jury deliberated less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. First-degree murder. Sentenced to death. Hawaii hadn't executed anyone in decades. But Kai became the exception. A symbol, a warning, not of love, of rupture. When asked if he had anything to say before sentencing, Kai stood. The room leaned forward. He looked straight ahead and said, "I didn't kill 2 people. I killed an illusion." He was taken away. No one clapped. No one cried. The courtroom emptied slowly, like something sacred had been burned down. Weeks later, a true crime podcast titled Blood at Sunset premiered. It had 2 million downloads. Moana's friends posted tributes. Darren's family sued the venue for inadequate security. Everyone had an angle. Everyone had pain. But no one had Kai. He was transferred to a high-security facility on the Big Island. No interviews allowed. No visitors. Just silence. He refused meals sometimes. Other times, he wrote. A guard found a note once. Scribbled on napkin paper. "I was a chef. I understood heat. I didn't know how to survive fire." The warden kept it. Months passed. People stopped talking about him. New stories filled the feeds. New scandals. New victims. Kai became a footnote. A name whispered like a myth. A man who mistook memory for meaning. Who looked at love and saw a mirror, and when it cracked, tried to put the glass back with blood. His name faded. But his question lingered. What do we become when the truth we built our lives on disappears? The answer never came. Some stories end with silence. This one ends with a name no one says anymore. Kai's story was loud, final, unforgettable, but not every ending has a body. Not every betrayal ends in blood. Sometimes, it's caught on camera, at a wedding, between sisters, with the whole family watching. When Lana discovered her husband's affair hidden in her own sister's wedding video, she didn't wait. She hit play. In front of everyone. What followed shattered a family. Turned legal. And then, went quiet. Too quiet. Because Lana didn't just vanish from the party. She disappeared from the island. Next is a mystery that haunts Hawaii's waters to this day. Lana from Pearl City. Her sister's wedding video exposed her own husband's affair.